Hello, everybody. It's Fiona Lukis here for my Friday afternoon, 1:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time Friday Live that I run every Friday. Hello and welcome to the live. If you're just tuning in and joining us, for those of you who don't know me, I'll just do a really super quick introduction for those of you who don't know me. My name is Fiona Lukis. Have been specialising in and operating in the relationship space for 13 odd years in private practice. I've worked with people in all sorts of relationships, intimate relationships, family relationships, parenting relationships, work office relationships, sibling relationships, friendships, you name it. So relationships are something I live and breathe. And, I have clients all over the world, programs, different things that I do and I offer. And I feel that I have a very, very different approach to what's generally offered out there. And I feel that the understanding that I teach offers a far simpler, easier approach to really turning up in the world the way that really matters to you and the way that you want to. So I teach something that gives people a greater level of calm, a greater sense of peace of mind, and a ability to cut through the noise in their own heads, so that they can listen from a place not from insecurity, but from a place that is wisdom. I was actually on a call with a gentleman this morning who's situated in the US, one of my clients, and we've been working together for about 6 weeks. He's a lovely, lovely man, one of my favorite clients, and I wrote something that he said to me down this morning. It was so beautiful. He said to me, Fiona, I feel like you have reached in and touched my soul in a way I never could have imagined. He said, the way I'm now showing up in my relationships in my life, I never knew I could feel this way. The sense of freedom and the sense of peace I have around who I am, what matters to me, and how I'm now showing up so differently to my partner is beyond words. And, we had a beautiful, beautiful exchange. And I thought to myself, this is actually what it's all about. It's reaching in and touching someone's soul, because when your soul wakes up, when you're connected to your soul, you show up unbelievably different in life and in the world. Most people, without realizing it, are showing up to themselves and each other through a lens of insecure thinking that they can't see. Now, please, I want you to hear what I just said. They're showing up through a lens of insecure thinking they can't see. I'm not saying you're an insecure person, but everybody has insecure thinking. Everybody, myself included. Like, this is the nature of being human. But what you need to be able to do is discern, right, the difference between when you have insecure thinking and when you do not. Okay, super, 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 super important. But anyway, I digress. So welcome to those of you who are watching. And hey, Madonna, nice to see you, honey. Welcome, lovely. Thanks for saying hi and dropping in. Really appreciate it. For anybody else I know Madonna, I think you are in Canberra, would be from memory. Is that right? Canberra, Australia. So I'd love to know if you're on the live, whereabouts in the world you are. I know last week we had people from Canada, from the US, from different parts of Australia, bit from Europe, early morning in Europe, probably a bit not quite late enough in the day for people from the UK. It's super, super early there. But if you're watching, I'd love you to say hi and let me know whereabouts in the world you are from. This live is streaming to both Facebook and YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, feel free to say hi. Hi, Kirsten. Hi, honey. Nice to have you here. Welcome, welcome. So it's super, super important. Okay. And this is what I bring to the table, this understanding that is incredibly different. Hey, Ange. Hi from Auckland. Nice to have you here. Welcome. Welcome. Lovely. Thanks for saying hi. Oh, Mount Tambourine. What a gorgeous spot, Madonna. Oh, I had a friend who used to live in Mount Tambourine, and I would go visit them, and it's such a beautiful, wow. Love to, that is I'd love to live in a rainforest like that. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. Enjoy. So yeah, thanks for saying hi. If you're listening, feel free to say hi. I'd love to know where people are from. I think this is one of the most amazing things about technology and where we are. And I know a lot of people are in lockdown, so jump on in and say hi, especially if you're in lockdown. Yeah, I'd love to, Madonna. If we're ever allowed out of Victoria ever again, there are lots of people in Queensland I'd love to go and visit. So yes, absolutely, I would most definitely love to do that. So if you have a question, so just for those of you who are new to these lives, these are really open-ended conversations. I really am just here to be of service. If you have a question that you want to ask me, I will answer it for you. No question is too big, no question is too small. And as I find with the students in my Relatable program, every week they say, when someone asks a question, everybody benefits from it. And so whatever your question is, feel free. This is the time to ask it. You have a relationship question, ask it. If you have a question around life, ask it. I have a full-time practice. I am working with, generally anywhere between 20 and 30 clients at a time. So I am in and out of sessions constantly. I work with people all over the world in all different situations. So, and I've been doing it for years and years and years and years. So feel free to fire whatever you want to fire at me, and I will do my very, very best to answer it for you. you know um, I really feel that these lives on a Friday are invaluable. I want to give you an opportunity to get a sense of the understanding that I teach, so that you can start incorporating it into your life and show up differently to the people that matter to you, because everything, right, is a reflection of you, not from a place of blame. There's no blame here. All right, but you just want to see that the world is your mirror, and it is constantly giving you feedback. Now, when you know how to look, or sorry, where to look for the answer, when you understand the power of the feedback you are being given, you don't get frightened, you don't judge yourself for it, you actually appreciate it and see it as an opportunity to evolve. Because as has it's been a big topic of conversation over the last few weeks with my Relatable students, there are kind of two things going on in life: evolve or repeat. And a lot of people repeat because they're afraid of evolving, or they're not quite sure how to. And so this is a very big part of a very big part of the conversation that I have with my clients, and the understanding that I teach. Now, I've had a couple of people email me in questions, so I have your questions. I will make sure I answer them on the live today. But in the meantime, if you have a question, post it below. And if you've just joined me, feel free to say hi and let me know whereabouts in the world you are from. I'm always fascinated and curious to know where people are. So, Madonna, is it reasonable to ask your partner to create clear attachment space by removing past attraction relationships, especially in Facebook? I struggle with this. I guess it depends, Madonna, on the space that you come from when you ask that question. Are you coming from a place of neutrality without agenda, or are you coming from a place of fear? So the space that you come from is super, super, super important. Number one, a lot of people tend to ask those questions from a place of fear. So the question is very loaded. And I mean, I'm not saying that's what you're doing. That's something you've got to check in within yourself. So when the question is very loaded, it tends to come across as an accusation, or a what's the word, an ultimatum, and if you're coming from that space, it's not going to go down well. All right, so the space that you come from, the energy that you bring is super, super important. And the energy that we bring, or another word that I use is flavor. The flavor that we bring is our absolute biggest blind spot. Biggest blind spot in life. I will have people come to me who will swear that they are neutral and they are not bringing a flavor, and then we'll start talking and they will be shocked, like shocked at the flavor that they're bringing, the energy that they're bringing, because you understand we're energetic beings. Energy meets energy. Energy meets energy. So if you're coming from fear and lack and worry and concern, you will get that energy met back at you. If you're coming from a place of a clear agenda, a place of neutrality with no agenda, you will have a very, very different conversation. So that's the first thing you need to be discerning of within yourself. And this is the first thing everybody needs to be discerning of themselves. And if you're not clear around that, I would say to you that it is super, super important for everybody listening that you make that the most important thing for you, that you do get clear around that, because it impacts your relationships in ways I cannot even begin to tell you. It really does. So that would be the first thing. Now, the second thing is if your partner has, if those attractions are clean, and as in they're finished and they're clean and there's nothing there and they're just friends, then the question would have to be to you is how come that's a concern for you? Because then that's your stuff as opposed to their stuff. And it's really important to know what is your stuff and what is somebody else's. And this is also something that I see people struggle with, right? So people, A, take on board things that don't belong to them and carry things like bricks of some that is other people's stuff and then get bogged down and stuck in that. And then there are people who project things out onto others that's actually theirs and something they need to sort out within themselves, that it's not somebody else's job to sort out, but it's yours. So it's very, very important for you to know what belongs to you and what belongs to somebody else. That takes a huge amount of mental load off and allows you to move forward with a sense of empowerment and clarity of mind versus moving forward where you're constantly giving your power away and then finding that someone else is abusing that. Okay, so I hope that helps with that, Madonna. So if you've just joined in, feel free to say hi. If you have a question that you want to ask me, pop it in the chat and I will ask it for you. If you cannot join in on the lives, then email the question to me beforehand. Hi, Jano. Nice to see you here. Welcome to the call, Jano. Always lovely to have you here. So if you have a question that you want to ask, but you can't make it to a live or the live next week, or you're too shy to ask it now, you can send that question to hello@fionalukis.com.au and I will do my absolute best to answer it for you next Friday on my live, which is at 1:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. So anyone else want to say hi? I'd love it if you would. If you have a question, pop it down below. In the meantime, I'm going to answer a question that was posted into me by someone earlier this week. And this was a question around stonewalling. So I'm going to read her question out to me because I think this is something that a lot of you can relate to. She says to me, where is her question here? Said, "Hi, Fiona, I'd love your thoughts on how to deal with a partner who stonewalls, gives the silent treatment after a disagreement. I realize this is about them. They're emotionally saturated and need time to calm down. But when it goes on for 3, 4, 5, if not more days, it feels like a punishment and the anxiety around when it's going to end increases. I try to stay centered and focus on myself and my kids, but it's hard. My partner is also not much of a talker. So previous attempts to say, please don't check out for X days at a time have been met with, don't argue with me or complain about me, and then I won't have to. Thank you." Okay. This is a really, really important question. And I know stonewalling or shutting down or withdrawing or holding back is something that goes on with a lot of people. Now, the number one thing that I want to say, and I'm going to answer this in a roundabout way, but the one thing that I want to say is that when you don't understand, and this is very, very important, when you don't understand how and where your reality is created, when you don't understand that, okay, when you don't understand that, you are very limited in how you handle something. So when you don't understand where your reality is created, you've got kind of two options. Try and control that thing that you don't like, or shut down and withdraw from it. These are the only two options available. And this is what I see happening in relationships over and 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 over again. Okay. Now, when this happens, it absolutely kills goodwill, destroys it. When you have no goodwill, people stop feeling emotionally safe around each other and become positional and defensive. And they start focusing on the me instead of focusing on the we. So, number one, it's very, very important to understand how to navigate the human experience and to understand where your reality comes from. Very, very important. This is a huge part of what I teach. Because when people have this understanding, they calm down, they have more choices other than controlling or withdrawing, neither of which work in a relationship. I mean, if you've ever had anyone try and control you, nobody likes it. It's awful, right? And nobody likes it when people shut down and withdraw. That's also a form of control, okay? Both are a form of control, but except one is expressed out and one is expressed in. But both of them, what you're saying to the other person when you do that, and it is so common, okay? I used to do it. Okay. So this isn't about judging what anybody does. It's just that most people operate because they do not have an understanding of how human beings work. And I know you've probably heard me say this 1,000 times, but I'm going to keep saying it. We all work in exactly the same way. Yes, our experience is unique, but our operating system is identical. Our operating system is identical. And so it is fundamentally important that you understand the operating system of a human being. Like, to me, fundamentally important. It's been the greatest gift that has come into my life, and it has enabled me to show up to untold challenges and situations and people in ways I never imagined I was capable of, because I have an understanding of what is actually going on in that moment. I have an understanding of how things work. So that's the first thing. So I'm going to come back to the question. Number one of the reasons this is going on is because there is a lack of understanding, say, with your partner around how their reality is created. So they are resorted to shutting down and stonewalling. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, the second element that I want to add to that is it's very important for you. So the lady who asked me the question, and I'm not going to mention your name just for privacy. So the lady who asked me the question, it's very important for you to discern, right? This is about discernment. It's very important for you to discern when someone is emotionally saturated and when someone is bullying. So it's one thing to be emotionally saturated, yes, and that means being overwhelmed and people need time to process and people process in different ways. Absolutely. So that is what I would say is someone who is processing from a place of goodwill. Does that make sense? When they are emotionally saturated, they can't deal with it anymore. They've got nothing more that they can offer in that moment. And so they need to shut down. And that's very much what happens, say, with my husband. My husband gets emotionally saturated and he goes quiet and he shuts down. And I understand that that is where he's at. But I also understand that it's coming from a place of goodwill inside my husband, meaning he's not doing it to control me. He's not doing it to put me down or make me wrong. He's doing it because that's how he processes, and that's all he's got on offer in that moment. Okay, so that's very, very important. Hang on, I just got someone. I'm just going to block someone's just spamming in an Asian language that's just going to flood the feed. So I'm just going to block that. So the other thing is, when you are able to discern the difference, so when I can discern when someone's behaving in a way that's coming from what I would call goodwill, meaning that's all they've got on offer at the moment. I can show up from a place of compassion and understanding, and I can be patient. But when someone is coming from a place of trying to control and bully and put down, then I need to be able to show up to that in a way where I'm coming from my own power. Now, the only way I can do that is by discerning what's going on. So I would say for you, honey, it's really important for you to discern the difference, because when you've got a lot of noise in your head, which is, oh, they just need time, they just need time, they just need time, and I know that's where they are, and that's all they've got going, and et cetera, et cetera. Then what happens is you may miss what's actually going on and then not show up to that in a way where you are being honored and you're standing in your power. And you may well be giving your power away. So to me, in my mind, this is about discernment. Is it that your partner is saturated and can't process anymore? Or is it that they are bullying and controlling? Now, notice how I say both of those things from a very neutral place. There's no emotion around whether it's goodwill or whether it's bullying and control. See that I haven't got the emotion around it. It's just me noticing and observing what's going on. So this is how you can approach something from a place of empowerment. You can't approach it from empowerment when you get caught up in all the emotion and the upset and the outrage and all of that. There's no power in that. That's actually you giving your power away. See, I can discern something from a place of clarity, because that's the power that clarity of mind brings, and then have a conversation where I come from a place of calm, neutrality, and empowerment. So this is about what you getting quiet, you tuning in, and actually asking yourself, what's really going on here? What do you think that might be? And then once you get clarity around that, how am I going to show up to that differently? Because remember, we are the creators, we are the artists painting pictures and creating our reality. And so your experience of everything is something that you create always. It's not being created for you. This is very, very important to remember and unbelievably powerful in relationships. Okay. So that would be my question to you is this is about discernment for you. Is it really that they're saturated and need time to process? And I completely understand that. Or is it that they are being controlling and bullying? And if that is the case, how am I going to show up to that? Anyway, I hope that helps with your question. Danny, hi Danny, welcome. Nice to have you on the chat. I think you were here last Friday from memory too. Another Melburnian, enjoying. I shouldn't say that. That's me being facetious. Enjoying lockdown in lockdown. It's as it goes on and on and on here. It's never ending. So hi Danny, welcome to the chat. And anybody else, if you've just joined, feel free to say hi and let me know where in the world you are. And if you have a question, please post it in the chat and I will do my very best to answer that question for you. And whilst I'm waiting for anyone else to ask me a question, I'm going to go to the next question that was emailed to me by a lady in Norway. Okay. Hi, dear Fiona. I have heard you talk about the energy us little humans. I always call people the funny little human in my relatable program and other things because we're just funny little humans. I heard you talk about the energy us little human beings that we bring into the room before our words. I have learned earlier that this has often to do with being highly sensitive to the energy people come in with in the moment. Now I'm not so sure about that. Is everyone sensing energy, or is it that people who are highly sensitive experience the energy more deeply? Love from okay. First of all, yes, everyone is sensing energy. Everyone is sensing energy. Everyone, because we're energetic beings. All right? We're energetic beings, so everyone is sensing energy all of the time, whether they're aware of it or not. Absolutely. We are operating off energy first and foremost. Okay? Another word for energy would be frequency. Okay? There are different frequencies out there always, and we're walking around in different frequencies, and different frequencies bring different energies. So for example, someone in a heavier, lower frequency, don't hear low as bad or in a hierarchy, it's just a fact. Someone who is in a lower frequency is going to be more likely to be feeling heavier, burdened, more fearful, to be sadder, more judgmental, etc., etc. Someone who is operating in a higher frequency is going to be feeling lighter and more open, more philosophical, more compassionate, more understanding, more probably more able to come back to well-being quicker, to get over things more quickly and come back to that lovely place of neutrality and well-being. Someone who's operating in a lower frequency will find that harder. It's like they've got to move through a bit more mud in their mind, or what I would call insecure thinking. They've got to move through more stuff internally to get back to that place. I mean, we all come back to well-being. Well-being is our default. Okay, it's our default. We always come back there. But, for some people who are in a lower frequency, that will take longer. People who are in a higher frequency will find that happens far more quickly. And you'll find that the higher the frequency, because the highest frequency of all is love, right? So the higher frequency you operate, you're more in touch with love. You're more in touch with, you're more neutral. You're more accepting. You're understanding. You've got a lot more goodwill to offer towards yourself, life, and others. Okay, you've got a lot more goodwill to offer to yourself, life, and others. So people who are in a lighter frequency just move through life with more ease People who are in a lower frequency move through life with more dis-ease. Okay, so now we are going up and down frequency all the time, and a big part of the understanding I teach helps someone to see where they're at and how they can be lighter within themselves. And when they do, they feel amazing. They put down the mental load, and their relationships go from strength to strength to strength because they are operating and bringing goodwill. Now, when you lead with and bring goodwill into a relationship, what happens? People feel safe. People let go. People give each other a free pass. People are more forgiving. People stop fault finding. When you are in a lower frequency, people are fault finding everything and taking offense at everything and feeling like the world's out to get them. This is just what happens. This is just a frequency thing. It's not personal. It's just frequency. And so when you understand frequency and you understand where you're operating at, okay, you can completely change that. Very easy to change it. And it's got nothing to do with your past. It's nothing to do with your upbringing. I mean, that is just so old, that approach. It needs to stop. It doesn't add anything. You are not your past. Your past does not determine your future. And it is very, very easy to shift and change. And it is life-changing. Life-changing. Hey, Danny, I definitely need to feel lighter. So tired of the weight I'm carrying. I hear you, honey. Believe you me. I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And this is something that the students in my Relatable program all say. They just can't believe the difference because they're lighter. And something I work with my clients because it changes the quality of your life immediately. Forever. When you understand this, you don't lose sight of it. It just gets deeper. And it changes the quality of your life. It changes how you feel about you. Now, as you change how you feel about you, you show up to life and others very, 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 very differently. Your whole energy changes. Okay? So this is super, super important. So, and why I say that my approach to relationships is very different. It's not about solving problems, okay? You can't solve problems from a low frequency, okay? You can't. It's like so hard. It's so hard. That's trying to swim with a concrete block tied around your waist, okay? Yes, you do, Danny. I so love that you can see that, honey. You do deserve quality. Everybody does. This is what people don't understand. When you're operating at a different frequency, there is so, and I cannot emphasize this enough. I cannot emphasize this enough. There is so much more on offer to you in life in terms of what you can experience day to day, moment to moment. So much more on offer. I say this with love, not to be patronizing or put anyone down. Please hear the space I'm coming from. Most people are sniffing at the fumes on what's on offer. Really. They are sniffing at the fumes of what's on offer. And I don't mean in terms of what you can have. I mean in terms of how you can feel, in terms of what you can experience. Right? I just wish everybody knew that. Most people are sniffing at the fumes. And they have no idea of the richness that's available. The richness in life. Regardless of whether you are in lockdown, whatever's going on with you. It is completely and utterly independent of what's going on externally to you. Completely and utterly. Now, I know that's triggering for people. I get that. And in the beginning, I have people go, that can't be true, Fiona. That can't be right. Yes, it is. 100% is. Hey, Danny, I want to dance in the fumes. Okay, love that, honey. Yes, absolutely. Well, it's entirely possible. Okay, entirely possible. I teach this step by step in my online program, Relatable, and it's what I do all day, every day in my practice. But coming back to my live call, so Fiona, I heard you talk about the energy us little human beings bring into the room before our words. I've learned earlier that this has often to do with being highly sensitive to the energy people come with in the moment. Now I'm not so sure about that. Is everyone sensing energy, or is it people who are highly sensitive experience the energy more deeply? Now, I wouldn't necessarily say this is about people who are more highly sensitive. I would say this is about people who are more tuned in. Okay. So you meet people who are very tuned in, and then you meet people who are very tuned out. Okay. People who are very tuned in are operating at a higher frequency. People who are very tuned out are operating at a lower frequency. Okay. Again, it's not here to make anyone wrong or put anyone down. It's just what is. It's just an observation of what is. Okay. There's no right, wrong here. It's just what is. And I see this all day, every day. Okay. So there are people who are operating at a lower frequency, and so they won't be sensing the energy as much. Why? Because they're in their analytical ego mind and they're rummaging around in there. Okay. Then there are people who are operating at a higher frequency, and so they will sense the energy more quickly and easily. And definitely as you start as your level of consciousness rises and you're operating at a higher frequency, you will find yourself more in tune with the energy, which is a good thing. All right, because then you're more in tune with yours and you're more in tune with others, which makes it far, far easier to be in relationship. It's almost like you are telepathically inside someone's head when you're in tune with energy. Makes it so much easier to know what's going on, how you want to show up, and where you want to lead from, and what you want to say, right? So much easier. It's like it's almost something that happens in spite of you instead of you having to think and plan and guesstimate and work out in advance. So many people I know who are constantly thinking, what if they say that? I'll do this. Or if I say this, they might do that. And they're like this, walking on eggshells. They're rigid. They're stuck. They think they've got to map it all out and be in control. And I mean, this is just so terrible for relationships. Relationships do not thrive in that environment. Let me tell you, because you're not tuned in, and therefore the other person won't be tuned in. Okay? Energy meets energy. We're energetic beings. So it's more about what you're tuned into. So yep, there are people who are tuned out, who I would call asleep at the wheel, and there are people who are tuned in, who are fully cognizant of what they're doing and driving. And so, you will know if you're tuned out. And an example of someone who's tuned out, there's someone who's overthinking, worries about everything all of the time, has the weight of the world on their shoulders, is feeling like they have to work everything out for everybody else, and that they're on their own, that they have to have all the answers. It's like they're carrying bricks. That's someone who's not tuned in. And please don't hear this as a criticism. As I said, just an observation. Naomi, hello. Hi, Fiona. Hope you're well. Massive question. I'm currently in a relationship with a female for over 3 years. During our time together, we've had challenging times, including the death of my brother in 2019. Oh, I'm so sorry, Naomi. My condolences to you. I'm really sorry to hear that. The issue I'm having in my relationship is I feel like I don't belong. My partner is always stating the house I live in with hers is hers. Yes, she's had the house for 17 years that she brought, but at no time has she made me feel welcome in it or to feel like it's ours. She is always I can't see the rest of your question, Naomi. It's not showing up. She is always, I can't see what you were saying after that. So I don't know whether you've got more you want to post there. But here's the thing, Naomi. I have a sister called Naomi, so great name, by the way. Um, I guess the question would be is, again, you coming from a place of neutrality inside yourself around that? Because often people are projecting things that they have no idea that they're projecting. You'd be amazed at what looks unbelievably obvious to you that the person is completely clueless about. Remember, as I said earlier in this live, our biggest blind spot is ourselves and how we're showing up. It's our absolutely biggest blind spot. So whilst it might look really obvious to you that your partner has not made you feel welcome, she may have no idea that she's doing that. None. And so it's, I often find that I bring curiosity when I'm not drowning in insecure thinking, right? You can't bring curiosity when you're drowning in insecure thinking. But I often find I will bring curiosity to something and just see, hey, did you know that you do that? Did you know that I don't feel really welcome? Because when you say that, that's how I feel. Is that how you want me to feel? Like, what do you want for us? Where would you like to go with us? Where would you like our relationship to be? How would you like us to be? How would you like to feel? What is it that you want? Okay, great. Do you feel that when you say things like that to me that you're moving towards that direction? Would you like me to feel like I'm a part of things? Would you like us to feel like we're in partnership and connected? Like, I'm going to get curious and ask questions because we often assume that people know what they're bringing to the table, and people don't. They don't. So you've got to work off the assumption, first of all, that she doesn't even realize what she's doing, and she certainly would not have an idea of the impact of it. Okay. Now, when you can see that, it helps you take things less personally, because you can't have this conversation when you're taking it personally. Okay. You can't. You've got to show up without an agenda and to be neutral. So that would be my answer to that, Naomi, is that you bring that to the table at level of curiosity, and see where the conversation goes. But if you're not neutral about it, if you've got an agenda, which is she has to see my point of view, and she has to this and she has to that. If you come in with those kind of expectations, the conversation will probably go pear-shaped. I hope that helps. Rob, hey Rob. Nice to see you. Nice to have you here. What's a simple, easy thing a person can do to improve frequency? Well, gratitude and appreciation is an important part of that. And I'm not talking about sitting down at night and writing in a gratitude journal. Okay, that's not what I'm referring to. Okay, sitting down and writing in a gratitude journal is not. I mean, it's again, it's what I would call sniffing at the fumes. Okay, that's an example of sniffing at the fumes. It is where you genuinely feel appreciation and gratitude that that's a part of your life. And you certainly, that is what happens when you slow down internally. As I find people who have this understanding in their lives start to do, they start to notice things they've never noticed before. They start to be grateful for things they've never even seen. They start to see the miracles in life as opposed to the problems. Okay, there's a wonderful quote by Albert Einstein, and I'm probably not going to say it properly, which is, you can either see everything as a miracle or nothing as. And this is super, super important. Okay, and it's your appreciation of the ordinary. Most people don't appreciate the ordinary. They're waiting for the extraordinary. They don't even see the ordinary. They don't, it's like, pfft. But the ordinary is what makes the extraordinary, right? So if you don't have an appreciation of the ordinary, then you're going to miss out on a lot of stuff, and hence be sniffing at the fumes, which is what a lot of people are. My pleasure, Naomi. I really hope that helped. Yep. Yes, Jeno. Your perspective is important. But your perspective is, yes, Rob. You want to see how tightly wound up you are? Yep, most people are. And it costs you. There's a massive price you pay for that. A massive, massive price you pay for that. Oh, hi, Brian. Hey, the lady with the most beautiful gift. Hey, Fiona, everyone. Oh, thank you so much, Brian. You know the podcast, I interviewed Brian and another wonderful man named Jamie for my latest podcast episode, which went live today, my podcast Relatable. So Brian and Jamie were my guests on that podcast. I wanted to do something for the men out there because I know there's a lot of men struggling. And so that podcast I put together to have these lovely, lovely gentlemen on, such beautiful, gorgeous people with huge, huge hearts. I just have such the biggest spot. Is it your birthday, Brian? Really? Happy birthday, Brian. And the podcast came out on your birthday. Wow, I had no idea that it was your birthday. How interesting. Don't you love the synchronicities of life? Don't you love the synchronicities of life? Thank you so much for letting me know that, Maz. That's so awesome that it came out on your birthday, Brian. I love that. Well, happy birthday. I hope that was a lovely birthday gift. I spent a lot of time editing and putting that together. So I hope you enjoy that. So wonderful. What an amazing change with Relatable, life-changing. Thank you. Yes, it is. This is what these guys were talking about, what they've seen, what they're sharing. Thanks, Natasha. Hi, Natasha. Amazing podcast. Thank you, honey. Appreciate that. Thank you, honey. Hello, Juno. I'm so sorry to hear that you lost your fiance. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Did you say that you've lost your fiance, or or you're okay, but you're having a challenging time. Look, honestly, for those of you, and I know a lot of people send me messages after these lives and say, how do I learn more about this? How do I learn more about that? How do I do that? Honestly, I can't emphasize this enough. I've put all of this together for you and in this beautiful program that's easy to follow and do. And really, honestly, is life changing and priceless, in my opinion. You just have to ask some of the people on the chat here today who've done it. If you want to get better at this stuff, just do Relatable. Honestly, guys, it's all laid out for you step by step. Honestly, it's right there. You want to know the answer? It's right there. Yes, you can keep listening to my lives and kind of piecemeal it out over months and months and months and months and months and months and months, or you can just go do the program and get the answers straight away and work it out and change the quality of your life now. You know, so it's honestly, guys, this is the answer. You want to know? There it is. I spent years putting everything I've learned over thousands and thousands of hours. I mean, I've spent over 10,000 hours working with people, right? Is in that program. Everything I've got, I throw into that program and the live calls and the magic we create. So if you want to know, guys, you just got to make the commitment to learning out about this stuff and go for it and invest in yourself and do it. Okay. The stress before Relatable makes me look 39, but hey, I'm really 18. Well, however old you are, Brian, and I don't know, I wish you a very, very happy birthday. And Maz, do the program, life changing and so worth it. Yeah, Maz did the program, and Maz was pretty skeptical, weren't you, Maz? So, but yeah, Maz has just had an extraordinary experience. And please don't hear this. I know it sounds arrogant that I'm sort of making myself out to be some amazing, and it's not. It's not me. It's the understanding, okay, and the community and everything that comes together in that program. So if you're stuck, if this is resonating with you, if you want to stop overthinking, if you want to have a deeper quality level of experience with yourself, life, and others, if you want to feel peace of mind and clarity and know how to navigate when you've got insecure thinking so you can show up in the way where you feel proud of you and connect more deeply with others, the answer is in that program. I'm telling you, it's all there. Step by step, anyone and everyone can do it. I've got students all over the world, men, women, from all walks of life, all stages of life, in all different types of relationships, every situation you can imagine, doing that program. So that's my answer. Okay. So for those of you who are saying, how do I find out more? There it is right there. It's right there on the screen and in the comments. There's the link where you can find out more. Join. Once you register, you'll get the first module within 10 minutes. Join the Facebook group and just watch your life change. It's really, the first module will change your life. It really will. This program is amazing. The friends I've made during it is awesome. This is living light, happy, and not so much chaos. Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Brian. Beautiful. And if you want to listen to my podcast, that's you can listen to it on iTunes, Spotify, all those kind of places. Just Google Relatable with my name, Fiona Lukes, and you'll find it there. Or you can download it from my website, FionaLukes/podcast. That's how you can access that. Maz, my relationship was all but over, and now we are better than we've ever been. But not just that, my inner peace is priceless. Yep. I know, honey. I know. I'm so thrilled for you. I really, really am. So I'm not asking these people to say these things. I'm not asking these people to go on these lives. I have not requested anyone say this. I'm not paying these people to say this. I promise you, this is just what they're saying because they all want you to have what they have. Okay. And that's why I put Relatable together. I want everyone to know what I know. I want everyone to have this experience. I want everyone, all right, to have this understanding in their lives. I really, really do, because this is what will up-level humanity, and that's the game I'm playing. That always have been. I'm quite loud and proud about it. That's the game I'm playing, and I'm just going to do that from. No, see, Brian is confirming that. So. Rob, inside is a vehicle and Fiona is the driver. Yeah. Looking forward to Relatable. How long is the program typically? The program takes about 8 weeks to do, Rob, but you can you have access to it for 12 months and you can go back. I have people that do it again and again and again and again over that time. You can join in live calls. I run them twice a week. So some people take longer to do it because they just want to absorb every piece of information or every video, because I'm teaching something that's almost the opposite of what we've ever been taught about how we work as human beings. Thanks, Brian. Lock it in today, mate. Change your life. And Brian is a wonderful, I will say, a wonderful ambassador in the Facebook group. He He has the most beautiful wisdom that he shares, and so does Maz. And, it's just lovely that, these people have gone through this, who've gone through really hard times, come out the other side, and they share their wisdom in the group as well. It's a very generous, beautiful community. And I thank you all so much for what you bring to that. 8 weeks, but lifelong, yes. And it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper over time. It really, really is. Honey, I promise you won't fail. Not possible, Danny. Not possible. It's actually impossible. Impossible. I haven't had, honestly, there's a post going on tonight. Don't miss it. I'm not sure what that means. Honey, honestly, you won't fail because I'm teaching you something you already know. I'm taking you back home. That's what happens in Relatable. People go back home. Okay? It's just waking people up and helping them tune in to what is already there. So it's impossible for you to fail, honey. I promise. Impossible, especially the way that this is taught, the way the program is laid out, the calls, the access to all of it. It's impossible for you to fail. Promise. Don't be scared. There's so much more on the other side of that for you, honey. Really, there is. And for those of you listening, honestly, there's so much more on offer than what you can see right now. So, now, anybody else have a question they want to ask me before I finish up the live? Any questions that you want to ask? If you want to ask about the program, or you want to ask about your relationship, or whatever might be going on for you. The great thing about what I teach is it doesn't matter what relationship it is. I have people in same-sex relationships doing Relatable. I have people who are transitioning doing Relatable. I have people in intimate relationships doing Relatable. I have people that come and want to improve their relationship with themselves, which is what happens to everybody who goes through the program anyway. I have people who want to change relationships with in-laws, with siblings, with friends, with work colleagues. I mean, I could go on and on and on with the reasons why people do this program. Now, I call it Relatable because how relatable you are, okay, and learning that is everything in life, okay? And so that's what I teach you, so that you can show up in a way where you feel proud, where you have resilience, where you're calm, where you know that you're okay. Oh, you'll do a post in the group tonight? Okay, cool, Brian. I look forward to it. Where you know you're okay no matter what, where you can bring a knowing of all is well. That is priceless. And you can bring that, and it's not determined on life being a certain way for you to be okay, which is how most people live their life, which is why you feel like you're a puppet on the end of a string, because as soon as life does something, as soon as things aren't the way you want them to be externally, you crash. That's a really disempowering way to live your life. And there is no emotional freedom in that. None. You're living on a wing and a prayer that will be a certain way so you can be okay. See how disempowering that is? See how exhausting that is? See how frightening that is? And that's how most people live their lives, right? And that's how most people show up in relationships, which is why relationships fail. Because if your well-being is determined on how another person is, you are going to come with so much agenda. You're going to come from a place where you've got to prove and justify yourself and explain and defend. And from there, goodwill goes down the tubes. People take offense. People go from 0 to 100 super, super quickly. And they destroy relationships. They don't mean to. It's not what they want to do, but that's what happens. And when you're operating from fear and a place of disempowerment, this gets reflected back at you in your relationships. It just does. And it just doesn't have to be that way. When you change your energy, when you bring something else to the table energetically, it is profound, the impact it has on the people around you. Profound. So, Maz just said before, her relationship's completely changed. Her partner hasn't done the program, doesn't even know what the program is about. She's done this on her own, and her relationship has completely changed. Because you are infinitely more powerful than you understand. Infinitely more powerful. If there's nothing that you get out of this live, it's where I want you to know how powerful you are. You're way more powerful than you understand. And when people step into their power and from a place of attunement and grace and humility, that's what I mean by stepping into your power, not from a place of arrogance and fear and lack. That's not stepping into your power. That's called disempowerment. right? When you step into your power from a place of grace, humility, discernment, peace of mind, clarity, whole different way to live your life. Danny, what the heck? All morning and afternoon, the weather was overcast, grey clouds. Since I've been watching this, I just looked up. The sun is showing blue skies and warm glow has just shone on me. Well, there you go. There you go. It's a sign from the universe. Make of it what you will, Danny. But it's lovely that you saw that. Okay. That's the things that you want to start to see because those moments are gifts, right? You want to start to see the gifts in life. And there are many gifts out there, but we can't see them when we're scared. We can't see them when we're overthinking. We can't see them when we're trying to control our environment or ourselves. They become very, very hard to see. Brian, here's how good it is. I split with my ex at the start of the year. Tonight I'm having cake at her place with the kids. Whoever thought that can happen? Brian, I didn't know that. Oh, wow. That's so awesome, Brian. You're having cake at her place. Oh, wow, Brian. That's amazing. I'm going to get emotional. Oh, you get me every time. Seriously? Okay, just going to have a moment here quietly, everyone. Oh, Brian. Oh, it's the third person that's had me emotional today. I got very emotional with a client of mine in the US this morning when he said that to me. You've reached in and touched my soul in a way I never could have imagined. This is what my client said to me this morning. This lovely man called Michael in the US. I just, whoa. Whew, it was very emotional. That is so amazing, Brian, because I know what Brian's gone through to be there. And that's because Brian has kept showing up from a place of empowerment, from humility, from grace. That's how he's kept showing up. And that's what he's learned in this program. And you've run with this, Brian. I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Good for you, Brian. Amazing. Yep. Well, this is what happens, Danny. We do. We make each other cry, but in a beautiful way. Okay. Oh, I love that, Brian. You're a beautiful man, beautiful soul. You can hear Brian's interview with me on my latest episode of Relatable. I've made this one out. I created this for the men, for the guys who are struggling out there, who've been blindsided in their relationships. Brian was blindsided. Jamie was blindsided. I get a lot of men coming to me each and every day who've been blindsided, meaning that their partner has walked out on them and they haven't seen it coming. Now, I'm not saying that their partner didn't give them lots of warnings, so please don't hear that that's what I'm saying, but I'm just saying they're coming to me and they just didn't see it coming. So I get a lot of confused and distressed and bewildered men sending me messages and emails asking for help. So hence that's why I put the episode together. It's a very special episode, I think. Yes. Love that, Brian. Please don't think love has to be what you think it should be. When it comes from inside, love is completely different. Life has changed, but now I love life, no regrets. Yep. I love that. Beautifully said and beautifully put, Brian. Beautiful. Thank you for that. Oh, thank you. Oh, you guys amaze me. You really do. You floor me and amaze me. Okay, so before I finish up the live, what a beautiful comment. If you're sitting on the fence, guys, if you want to know what Brian's talking about and all of these people, just jump on in, join us in Relatable. There's a payment plan, but I promise you, this is the most amazing conversation that you will not have anywhere else. It's very, very different. And the community is extraordinary. Our live calls are extraordinary. And what we create is magic. So you want to stop overthinking and get more out of life. Honestly, I can't express to you enough the power of the understanding that's available to you and how that transforms your relationships, your lives, and it just gets deeper and deeper over time because I'm teaching you something that is true for all human beings. So everybody can relate to it. All you need is to be human. Okay? That's all. The only requirement is that you're a human being. Okay, everybody. I'm just going to check. Someone's just sent me a question. They've just said they've just asked me to expand on being at peace within yourself. Can you expand on being at peace with yourself? I get scared of being alone and unloved. Well, being at peace with yourself is very much determined on your relationship with life. Okay? It's very much determined by your relationship with life. So people who have a poor relationship with life struggle to be at peace with themselves because they feel disconnected, separate, and alone. But when your relationship with life is strong, and again, this is something else that I teach in the program, but when your relationship with life is strong and clear, then people don't feel so alone. Okay. They feel connected to the whole. They recognize they are a part of something bigger than themselves. They lean into the unknown. They trust in life. This is very, very, very important, and hence why there are three elements to relationships: your relationship with you, your relationship with life, and your relationship with others. And hence why these two, your relationship with you and life, determines number three. Most programs are just dealing with number three. I'm dealing with 1 and 2, which changes number three. So if you want to feel more at peace with yourself, that has a lot to do with your relationship with life, your relationship with something bigger than you. Okay. Anyway, everyone, I hope that answers that question. Yeah, happy birthday again to you, Brian. And I will see you next week on the Friday Live. If you want to know about the program, the link is in the comments. And if you want to send me an email, then you can do so, hello@fionalukis.com.au, to send me your question for next week's Friday Live. See you next week, everyone. Ciao. Bye, Gino. Bye, Brian.